hand so true, loyal until his friend goes number 2. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer. He's the leader that everyone fears. Quickly, it's a real heater. Once my friend, he's a locker room leader. In the chaos, he's the center, turning us into believers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday night. It is 7 p.m. It is that time of the week again. It is the Locker Room Breakdown. This is our Raw perspective. I am OM Dynamic. Bubba Duke is once again on assignment. And what a show we had last week, ladies and gentlemen. And what a show we have tonight, coming to us from the former Arrowhead Pond, now the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the end of last week's Raw really left me scratching my head. I am going to be honest on that. It left me scratching my head. I was not thrilled with the final result, but I digress. I will get into that a little bit later on. The show kicked off with an absolute bang as Adam Pearce was in the ring to discuss the World Heavyweight Championship scenario. And instead of allowing Seth Rollins to vacate the title because Seth Rollins had just had major surgery, Adam Pearce stripped Seth Rollins of the World Heavyweight Championship, which led to a confrontation between himself and the Vision, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and of course, Paul Heyman. This got heated real quick when the Vision came out because Adam Pearce did ask for the title. Bron Breakker said, "What if I don't?" Or ask respectfully. Adam Pearce did ask respectfully, and then Bron Breakker said, "Say please." So Adam Pearce, of course, obliged, and Bron Breakker did hand over the title, at which point Paul Heyman, Bron Breakker, and Bronson Reed went on to explain why they did what they did. And Paul Heyman said he did not betray Roman Reigns or CM Punk at WrestleMania 41 to align with Rollins, but because he knew that the future lay in Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, and that's where this vision of Seth Rollins was going. He then laid into Rollins, saying he couldn't shoulder the responsibility of being the World Heavyweight Champion. And this is where things, I think, really got interesting because he made it clear why Rollins was out, but Rollins just couldn't hack it and hack the pressure. Rollins' vision crumbled beneath him, so to speak. Paul Heyman also called it a revision of the future. I'm great with this. I love where this is going. I am very intrigued to see what is next for Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. And what are they going to do, and what are they going to bring to the table tonight? Are we going to see them in action? We will find out at 8 p.m. with the Raw Patrol, myself, Chris Best, and whomever else is joining us. Up next, we had, ladies and gentlemen, if this wasn't the tag team match of the year, I do not know what is. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough for the World Tag Team Championships. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this match for me absolutely stole the show. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee did come out on top and are your new WWE World Tag Team Champions. And this match, ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't have asked for any better. These four men brought it. High flying, technical, it was everything. The psychology, the story told, everything about this match was just a chef's kiss. I mean, I'm not a huge Lucha fan. I would have loved to see the Judgment Day retain, but at the same time, they've held the tag titles for how long? And this was their second, maybe third defense. And I am okay with that because I know that we are going to see those tag team titles defended a little more regularly. I wonder if we are going to see a rematch of this coming Saturday at Saturday night's main event, which is already an absolutely stacked lineup, ladies and gentlemen. And there's more to come. I cannot wait for what this Saturday has in store for us. McDonough and his obvious work in selling. Finn Balor and AJ Styles, of course. I did question if, maybe the Bullet Club history would have come into that, as it was Finn Balor who was on his way to WWE at the time when AJ took the reins of the Bullet Club from him. We also know that they have had some classic matches as well as tag team history together where they united under not necessarily united under the club banner, but they used the Too Sweet gesture and they worked for the betterment of it, actually, ironically, against the Judgment Day. Leading into this match, because it was Dirty Dom who had gotten them in this match in the first place, running his mouth the previous week on Raw, saying he's the only working champion around the WWE at this point in time. The funnier part of this was afterwards, after the match, and we saw them walking around backstage. What do AJ and Dragon call themselves? Do they call themselves Dragon Styles? They even made a joke about calling themselves AJ Lee. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that did get a good laugh out of me. I do love it when you can play on that type of a banter. And that was incredible. For me, ladies and gentlemen, this was the absolute match of the night. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in 3 weeks, we had Dominic Mysterio and Rusev. And for the third time in 3 weeks, we had Dominic Mysterio defending the Intercontinental Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, this, again, a fantastic match. Again, some shenanigans ensued for Dom to retain the title. Dom went to try and take a walk, and Penta showed up to prevent his exit. And I was great with that again, but I'm getting to the point where this needs to stop. So I hope whatever happens as far as this goes, whether we're going to a triple threat and Dom's dropping the Intercontinental belt, whether Dom is going to defeat this, we don't know what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We will cover Dominic Penta and Rusev a little bit more. But Penta's disruption did distract Rusev, who went for an attack, took a low blow from Dom to once again lose the match. Dom came out, though, during the commercial break and awaiting Rusev's arrival. He grabbed the mic as he was getting the babyface cheers. And this really caught all of us off guard a little bit here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And even Dom got on the mic and said, this is a little bit weird for me. And I realized that they are in California, which is Dom's home state and home away from home. So, yes, it is natural that he is going to get a little more reaction, a little more positive reaction. But to actually be cheered and be beloved entering the arena, ladies and gentlemen, it was really, really surprising. I was shocked. And for Dom to go out there and cut that babyface promo before getting interrupted by Rusev, who then made his entrance for the match, I thought really carried a lot into the match. And again, the psychology and the storytelling of all of this was brilliant. It was masterful. I want to thank WWE Creative for giving us provocative storylines each and every week and give us major talking points, not only here on the Locker Room Breakdown, but on the Raw Patrol, on Turnbuckle Talk, and all of the other great programming that we have for you here. Speaking of all of that programming, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at all of the programs we have throughout the week before we continue with the review.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get involved in podcasting, content creation, collaboration, or just help us out behind the scenes, turnbucklestudios.org is the place to go. That is where we can help you do that. Go to the host link where you can meet the team. Myself, Chris Best, Chris Parrish, Bubba Duke, and Carl Carafel. Get all of our social media links and hit us up there. Go to turnbucklestudios.org/join to send us your credentials, how you think you can be beneficial to us, how we can be beneficial to you, and we can sit down and discuss it collectively. Go to the shop link to go to carlcarafel.redbubble.com and get all of our merchandise. And from there, ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org, it does have all of our latest weekly episodic shows, including this one, which will go up a little bit later on. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the review. I did forget, as part of that opening segment with Adam Pearce, we were given the announcement of a battle royal to determine the new number one contender and the man who would face CM Punk this Saturday at Saturday night's main event to challenge And it was a 20-man over-the-top battle royal, but we will get into that a little bit later on. But we did have Jimmy and Jay discussing things for this, and Jay told his brother, the Usos were talking about it. Jimmy was trying to convince Jay that Roman doesn't have everything. Roman's not even there. Roman had told them after Crown Jewel that he didn't want to see them until Christmas. And that's okay. I'm sure we are going to get Roman very, very soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Roman shows up on Saturday night. But we will find that out on Saturday. I'm getting really, really tired of this idea of brother versus brother, family versus family. I'm tired of these matches. I am not a fan of them unless it's organic, not something that is forced upon us. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we've seen it. Matt and Jeff Hardy, Edge and Christian, Taker and Kane, Ray and Dom. We've already had Jamie versus Jay at WrestleMania in a match that everybody absolutely dumped on. I personally think that it was just because of the positioning that night on the card. So I do not want to see this match again. We had a rematch from the previous Monday. Maxine Dupri versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship once again. Maxine had defeated Becky Lynch a week earlier via a countout. Becky Lynch, of course, blaming referee Jessica Carr for the loss. Same thing that happened at WrestlePalooza. And ladies and gentlemen, I said it before. I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it last week, and I'm going to repeat myself. Maxine Dupri is the most improved female competitor since Liv Morgan. I cannot believe the work she has put in, and I know she is training with Natalya in the dungeon, and they are working on building the dungeon dolls. I think that is the way for Maxine to go, is really focus on getting herself better. Challenge for the tag team titles, maybe win those first, and then really explore what you can do. If you want to do a quote-unquote proving ground match, have Maxine face Natty one-on-one as sort of a mentor-mentee match. Teacher versus student, I would be great with that. If that is what we need to do, it doesn't even have to be a rivalry. It can be a match built on respect to really, really elevate Maxine. But full credit to Becky Lynch, who is making a mid-carder seem far more relevant. And as I've said, Maxine Dupri is vastly improved from where she was 6 months ago. She is the most improved competitor since Liv Morgan. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this match delivered. And this is what I said. Raw has been delivering each and every week. It gets progressively better. It has not gotten stagnant in a long, long time. And that is since TKO took over and since Triple H took over as Chief Content Officer. This is the Paul Levesque era. This match did take place in Maxine's hometown of Sacramento, California. And while Becky did take control, but Maxine fought her way back, countering things like the disarm her into an ankle lock, rolling up. Maxine kept moving. She used her athleticism. She used her agile frame. The one thing that really, really still weirds me out is the way Maxine does a kip up. I am thankful to see she is not trying to use the caterpillar or the worm But we also saw the return of Otis to Monday Night Raw. And he made his way to the top of the ramp with Tozawa and Maxine when Maxine made her entrance. But the Alpha Academy, Alpha Babes, went to the back and let this match take place one-on-one. Maxine hit everything. And once again, Maxine came out on top via disqualification because I'm just trying to find it here. Yes, Becky Lynch did hit Maxine with the belt before walking out to a chorus of boos. And she has continued to chirp the referee, Jessica Carr, who was once again the referee for that match. Do we get this match in a final showdown at Saturday night's main event? Do we get Jessica Carr taking the law into her own hands with Becky Lynch? Where does this go? Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this Saturday is already stacked with Cody and Drew for the WWE Undisputed Championship, CM Punk and the winner of the Battle Royal, which we will get to shortly, for the World Heavyweight Championship. I would hope that we are going to see this Intercontinental Championship. I hope we are going to get a Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be an absolutely stacked show. And some interesting reports coming out about Saturday night's main event, which we will discuss potentially tomorrow on Turnbuckle Talk if we get more clarification on it. But I cannot wait. I want to see these two again and again and again. Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez. Ladies and gentlemen, this match got interrupted for me. I had some technical difficulties last week, so I really didn't get to see or process this whole match. I got it in bits and pieces. I ended up having to exit the Raw Patrol early due to these technical difficulties. Now, Stephanie Vaquer did win, but from what I gather, I mean, Roxanne Perez absolutely delivered, which really is no surprise. Roxanne Perez is absolutely incredible in that ring. And I'm going to say this, by the end of 2026, Roxanne Perez will be challenging for the women's title, whether it is on Raw or on SmackDown. Roxanne Perez will be a champion by the end of 2026. I will put a guarantee on that. Now, there was interference, of course, from Raquel Rodriguez, which is of no surprise because they are Judgment Day. They are sisters, I guess. They all three, Roxanne, Stephanie Vaquer, and Raquel, are all of Hispanic heritage, and it is great to see so many being showcased each and every week. And yes, I know that some of this has to do with the alliance with AAA, but this is absolutely huge. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is being involved, getting involved on every show. Very, very few people are left sitting back in catering unless you're injured. Now, yes, after the match, which Vaquer did win, Raquel Rodriguez came in and they continued to beat her down until Nikki Bella came out to make the save. And we know that there was history there. And I'm okay with this because has been Nikki Bella in a limited capacity. But we know that she has, again, Nikki is of Hispanic heritage. So for her to be able to come out, get involved, and set this up, whether it's going to be a tag team match or what it's going to be sooner than later, is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to find out tonight what happens. I'm not a huge Nikki Bella guy, but it keeps the story moving forward. After this match, another huge segment backstage involving Paul Heyman. In fact, two segments that happened. First, Paul Heyman was informed by Adam Pearce that neither Bron Breakker nor Bronson Reed would be involved in the Battle Royal. And Paul Heyman went through, did the same thing. Adam Pearce made him go through the same rigmarole that Bron Breakker put Pearce through in the ring earlier in the night. And Paul Heyman did go and say, respectfully, could you please put them back in the Battle Royal? Adam Pearce made him say, please. Paul Heyman, respectfully, Adam Pearce, sir, would you please kindly put Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed back into the Battle Royal? Adam Pearce then looked at him, said, no, slammed the door in his face. After that, Paul Heyman was then confronted by Becky Lynch backstage. Paul Heyman then pleaded with her and said, there is a place for you in the vision. Becky responded saying, quite frankly, Seth's surprised you didn't do this sooner. And your snake oil salesman pitch has no effect on me. And you're going to wish that when we're done, when he comes back, that you weren't aligned with any of this, so to speak. Now we come to the main event of the night, which was the 20-person over-the-top rope battle royal. And it featured a lot of the superstars who had already been in action over the night, including Rusev, including Penta, Dominic Mysterio, among others. And this is what left me scratching my head, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Uso saved Jay more than once in terms of being eliminated. When Jimmy Uso and LA Knight were tangled up in the ropes, Jay went over. I know he was trying to eliminate LA Knight, not necessarily trying to eliminate Jimmy. He actually did reach out to grab Jimmy's foot, but missed. And left Jimmy absolutely frustrated while Jay went on to win the match, despite almost getting eliminated by Dom Mysterio. And ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine how Sacramento would have reacted had Dom won that match? I know I would have popped. But Jey Uso with his second Battle Royal win of the year after, of course, winning the Royal Rumble earlier this year. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to ask, why Jey? Why? For me, it's going to make sense if they put the belt on Jey as opposed to putting it on CM Punk. And quite frankly, I do think both men deserve the belt. CM Punk has always found himself in the chase. Anytime he gets close, he is interrupted. Something else distracts him. And he just can't win the big one. For me, I want to see if they put the belt on Jay, turn Jay heel. Don't make Jimmy turn heel to give CM Punk the belt. Make Jimmy the baby face in this situation. Turn Jay heel. You could do the same thing with Punk. Have Punk win it and turn Punk heel. Let Punk realign with Paul Heyman as the leader of the Vision. You could do that with either of them. I don't think the Vision fits Jey Uso, but I don't need another Bloodline Civil War either. So, ladies and gentlemen, for me, this really didn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not a huge fan of the decision unless you're going to put the belt on Jay and turn him. That is where I want to go with this. But ladies and gentlemen, it is almost time for the preview. So ladies and gentlemen, take a look at how you can help us and then our merch.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the preview for tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get Penta versus Rusev in a number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to ask why. Both of these men have lost the last 3 weeks to Dominic Mysterio. I think it is time for them to focus on something new, let Dom move on to something new, and let Dom become that babyface. Let's have those cracks form in the foundation of the Judgment Day. Let's get that Finn Balor or JD McDonough versus Dominic Mysterio. I would be all for it. But this is going to be an intriguing matchup. And as I said, are we going to get a potential triple threat out of this? This match is, again, going to be hard-hitting. But again, this is a match we've also seen fairly recently. I think about 4 weeks ago, we saw a number one contenders match between these two. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, the only way to go with this is if you are going to have a double DQ and have this become a triple threat. Potentially at Saturday night's main event. Potentially in AAA. I would be all for it. I'm leaning more towards Saturday night's main event, but I would love to see the King of the Luchadors defend against both of these men at a AAA event as well. Especially with Penta then having the opportunity to win it in his home promotion, and a promotion that has meant so much to him. He's already stated he wants the AAA Mega Championship. So that could be a very, very intriguing road to go down. I could also very easily see Rusev winning this and getting that one-on-one match to have Penta then cost Dom the title at Saturday night's main event, for Dom to then face him for the AAA Mega Championship at a AAA event. And I think that would be a fantastic story to go through. I am hoping this next match is going to be better than what I think it's going to be. But I'm going to put a lot of pressure on Roxanne Perez here right now, as Roxanne Perez will face Nikki Bella tonight based on what happened last week with Nikki coming out and saving Stephanie Vicaire after that women's match that Roxanne had. Now, Roxanne is phenomenal. She can work with the bigger competitors, and the pressure is on for Roxanne to really guide Nikki. I know Nikki's got the experience, ladies and gentlemen, but Nikki is there and she's gone. She's there and she's gone with backstage appearances here and there. I don't have this match ranked highly on my card. I'm hoping that this is maybe something that you can open the show with. Even if they set the bar, you can build that bar up. So, Roxy, the pressure is on you, sweetheart. Please, please, you got to deliver. We've also had a challenge put out over social media, as Bayley has asked for Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to come to Raw and face her and Lyra for whether it's for the tag team titles or not tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, I am intrigued by this. We already know that Charlotte and Alexa have said yes, they will show up. We don't know whether it's for the titles. This match was not officially announced for Raw. But this could really, really now throw a wrench into the plans of the women's tag championships. We know that the Kabuki Warriors are going to be gunning for those titles, and they've got a history with Bayley and Lyra. You also know that the Judgment Day could be getting involved, and this could lead to a huge, whether it's a four-way, whether it's a gauntlet. I don't think this is going to happen at Saturday night's main event, but I do think that it could happen next week or in the coming weeks in the build to Survivor Series. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to even see this at Survivor Series. This is going to be a very, very intriguing situation, and I am here absolutely for it. We have seen some teasers come out on WWE.com focusing on people's shoes, and there is a lot of speculation as to what this could be. I have heard everybody from a returning Andrade to Gunther to promotional material for WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and others. So it's going to be very, very intriguing. I've also heard Santos Escobar's name, and Santos is reported to be at Raw tonight. Whether he is going to be on screen making his Raw return, we don't know. It's very, very intriguing. If he is at Raw and seen, I love it because it's getting him away, putting the focus on him, keeping him from Legado del Fantasma, and letting him focus. Could we get him potentially getting involved with Dominic Mysterio? Could we see him involved with Los Americanos, who made an appearance on Halloween Havoc this past Saturday night for NXT? I am intrigued, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really am. We are also going to get a face-to-face with CM Punk and Jey Uso. And I really hope that this becomes a war of words. I hope that this is a build on what CM Punk said to Jey a few weeks ago of, I love Jey Uso, I don't like Little Roman. I don't want this to get physical. I want this to be a match about respect, friendship, and maybe one of them turning heel at Saturday night's main event, whether whoever wins or loses. I think that is where the focus needs to be in this match. Do I expect Jimmy Uso to get involved? Unfortunately, in this situation, I do, but I think Jimmy is going to interject himself and potentially make himself the special guest referee. We saw him return to SmackDown on Friday. Is he going back and forth because he can't make up his mind and he is conflicted internally? As I've said before, I really don't want Jimmy to get involved because I don't want this brother versus brother situation, family versus family. All of this and more, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in just about 20 minutes over at the Turnbuckle Studios YouTube page. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. This has been the Locker Room Breakdown, our Raw perspective. If you are looking for me out there on the socials, ladies and gentlemen, they've lost it. Okay. Then head on over to turnbucklestudios.org, go to the host section and find my name. I am OM Dynamic. I'll do it here. Or you can follow me at my Linktree, linktr.ee/OMD show. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember, the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck.
In the locker room, a guy you'll find loves bad hockey, teams can't deny. His best friend is up the hand, so true, loyal until his friend goes number 2. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer.